And I want to say on national radio, enough is enough. This British Muslim, this liberal, secular, democratic Muslim, wishes to say that it's time all of us stopped this disproportionate singling out of Israel in its legitimacy. Israel has a right to exist. It has the right to exist as any other nation in the world. If you're going to question Israel's right to exist, let's question Australia's right to exist. Let's question America's right to exist. Both were colonial projects. Let's question Pakistan's right to exist. That was also a colonial project. Indeed, there was even no such thing as the country of India before British colonialism. The Brits, we, have left our mark on the world. The entire world, at one time, the sun didn't set on the British Empire. The entire world has been shaped by the British Empire, before that by other empires, whether that be the Romans or whoever else it was that had vast empires. The Arabs had an empire, the Turks, the Ottomans had an empire. And so, of course, history is full of empires doing unjust and uncaring things. But the world as we find it now is carved up into nation states, and Israel is one of those nation states. And it's enough with this double standard of accepting America's right and legitimacy, and Australia and Pakistan and India and every other nation in the world, and yet constantly singling out Israel as somehow being a delegitimate state. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the double standard. And frankly, it's frustrating, because it constantly serves as an excuse to distract the conversation from very real genocidal problems, such as the problem in Syria and Iraq with ISIS and the unraveling of the Middle East, which Israel pales in comparison to when you look at that particular problem there. And, I say this because, why I say I'm frustrated is because, and I'll end on this note, believe it or not, last year, 2016, there were more UN resolutions condemning Israel than, wait for it, than the following: a potential genocide unfolding in South Sudan, Iran, Syria, Iraq, ISIS, North Korea, Russia. There were more UN resolutions condemning Israel in 2016 than all of those countries combined. And you think, what with ISIS and what it's doing and reintroducing slavery into the modern population, what with Bashar al-Assad using chemical weapons on his own population and the Russians and the Iranians backing him, what with the Iranians executing people regularly in the name of God, what with Saudi Arabia lashing people, chopping off limbs for theft, and yet Israel had more UN resolutions condemning it than all of those atrocities combined in 2016? That's why I'm sick of it, because it's the constant what about excuse used by everybody who doesn't want to address some real, grave, serious issues within the Middle East, but yet constantly wants to point fingers instead at the Middle East's only secular, democratic, and yes, very imperfect country.